In this episode, I give my thoughts, share my ideas for what I would think would be a nice addition to the game. But I just want to start off on the topic at hand, and that would be the extermination, or I think the bug termination, and the what's the other one? Emergency evacuation mission. Now, emergency evacuation missions, I don't really have a problem with. It's just, it all depends on which stratagems that you use and how you synergize amongst your squad of individuals. Now, this is coming from a Helldive veteran. And even at times, sometimes, man, when it comes to those bug extermination missions, I would rather just take down the difficulty a notch to like 7 or 8. But the one in charge won't even allow that.
You done with all this small talk?
But when it comes to bug extermination, that can get pretty ridiculous, and it can get out of hand real fast, regardless of what stratagems you may bring to the field. The shield, also a quick thing to add, the map layout. The map layout is horrendous. Helldive equipment or gear, in the supermarket, or saving up just to spend on the next premium war bond, which I'm definitely looking out for. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Now, the map layout is not the best. What I propose, and this is what I've been racking around for the past few days, is nearly a complete rework of the whole mission, that operation specifically. And what I mean by that is, instead of having a tiny arena style bend off mission against waves and waves of bugs until you reach the certain amount of terminus that you've killed, instead, how about this? Instead of that, how about we save that and allow that to be a type of end game for the operation on a specific part of the planet? So say, for instance, you complete all 3 missions within that operation, then you have the bug extermination. So what I mean by that is, you have a special event. It could be a 6-man activity, and we can go underground and stamp out the Terminid's threat for good in that location to really just wrap up the entire operation. I think it would be cool. It could be, now it's up to you developers. It could be as hard as you want it to be. That's fine. It's a last ditch effort to stamp out the enemy Terminids in that location. It could be like towards the end of the operation. That could be a neat event that could take the place of bug extermination. Instead of that, I think that would be an even better mission than the regular bug extermination, and being on this circular arena that's not even that, it doesn't give you that much room to operate, and the bug holes, or the bug breach, can just pop up at any part of this little arena. And mind you, you already do not have enough leg room to do anything, and you could be standing in the location and bam, poof, a bug breach right there at your feet. Make it even worse, Bio Warriors, or the BBL bugs, and or bam, first thing comes out the bug breach at your feet, Bio Titan, and then from there things can quickly just get out of hand because it could spawn in multiple Bio Titans. And with how, I don't know, I think the damage or the health of these Bio Titans can be wonky. They can soak up it, and one end you can quickly get a Bio Titan out the way. On the opposite end, they can be some of the most tankiest enemies in the game. So I just think that would be a nice rework to the bug extermination mission, if you choose to go that route, Arrowhead Studios. And that could be, again, with a 6-man activity. On one hand, you have the emergency evacuation where you're hot dropped into the zone and you have to fend off against an onslaught of Terminids. At the same time, you give time for the workers or just colonial engineers to make their way onto transport ships and get off the rock. And when it comes to bug extermination missions, you could be hot dropped into a defensible location, and it can be kind of like on top of a hill or on top of a fortress, and you're defending off against waves and waves of Terminids or automatons for either mission. And you could just, when it comes to extermination missions, you can just still have that kill as however many automatons or Terminids before you can call an extraction. But when it comes to that mission, you have to defend that spot. You cannot let that fortress or facility fall to the Terminid threat or the automaton threat. Next, I want to talk about the planet side debuffs, and that could be weather effects and the destroyers, the way the destroyer functions. And those debuffs are for example, orbital fluctuations and complex stratagem plot will be. Now, what I propose is adding a type of passive to Helldiver armor, and that could be for the planet's weather systems that are in play. Just not for all weather systems, because I know you can't really, or you know what? Yes, and that goes for the planet's weather system. For example, you can have an armor that you can come out with, a Helldiver armor, right? And it has a thick coat on to help prevent against the freezing temperatures, and it also reduces it can also reduce the movement penalty for when there's a blizzard. You can have a heavy Helldive armor that comes with extra shock absorption that prevents you from being taken out in one asteroid hit, or depending on where you are within the radius of the impact. I think that would be nice. And another cool thing you could add, I think that would be a nice little switch up from the capes. I got nothing wrong with the capes. Love the capes and how the capes work and the neat little details. I just think would also be like a great addition if you add ponchos to the game. That would be nice. They can or cannot come with their own passive that'll reduce enemy detection rate or range, excuse me. I think will be really, really nice. Having some counterplay when it comes to the weather effects on a planet that may have something like, or another armor piece that'll come with like a type of electronic device on its back, on the wearer's back, that'll prevent against ion storms. Not completely. Now, it is completely up to you, Arrowhead, which stratagems you want to still be functional, or it can completely take away the scrambled effect, but it'll give you scrambled stratagems instead. That way you can still be able to call stuff in, but you have to be careful which inputs that you do, or you might take yourself out with a lethal stratagem, something like that. I think would be really nice. The armor pieces could be a nice solid way to either planet side debuffs or debuffs for the destroyer. I think it would be really cool. Now, as far as the primary weapons, I don't think they need buffs in terms of damage across the board. I think the weapons so far, they all are doing great in their own lane when it comes to damage. However, I think the marksman rifles need a little love. I think they should be great against medium armor penetration and against, for example, the hive warriors, the ones that come out and have the little orange or reddish armor on it and they curl up. I think the marksman rifles could be amazing against those specific bugs and below. But as far as increasing the damage overall, I don't think it's not necessary. However, another idea which I think would be cool is to just simply increase the magazine capacity across the board, from regular projectile all the way down to the energy weapons. Just increasing the magazine capacity be amazing. It would be that you would not have a problem. I don't think people would complain as much, because you have enough ammo in the magazine to be able to hold off until you want to use your stratagem. And this is coming from a person that's pretty much strictly plays Helldive. I think if you at least try that, give that idea some thought, play around with that, I think that's way better than just simply increasing the damage. The armor pieces could really be amazing when it comes to counterplay towards the debuffs. I think that will be really nice if you just give that some thought. They don't have to be OP, have so many like 2-3 passive active at once. It just has you, carefully pick the right tool for the job. And that could also spread to some of the Helldive armor. You could have that armor that reduces the effects of the weather debuffs when it comes to frozen planets, for example. But you have to give up, let's say, grenade capacity or stem capacity just to keep that. Something like that. Just some food for thought. If you do somehow see this video, or it somehow gets to you, the developers at Arrowhead Studios, and give the extermination mission some thought, it would just be nice to just either do a complete rework or completely change, well, not completely, but just like tweak the map layout. The one map in dealing with the automaton, excuse me, when you're on top of this hill-like structure and they have to come upwards and come to you and fight their way towards you when you have your stratagems down and they're acting and they're running defense for you. I think that's really nice. I think that map is solid out of every other map in the game when it comes to extermination missions. I think if you just take that map and build other maps from it, I don't think it would be much of a problem. I don't think people would really complain when it comes to doing bug extermination missions after that. Also, lastly, how about a nice little feature to add when it comes to using turrets? It don't have to be for every turret, but when it comes to the lethal turrets, or minus the mortars, how about when you're next to your turret, you can take control of the spotting feature. That way you can have it prioritize certain enemies instead of prioritizing enemies that you can handle. And this is only when you're standing close to your turret. I just think that would be a nice quality of life improvement for the game. But if you like the video, be sure to share, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts. I'm out.